Yesterday after the show, a few people called me and said, you know, Bernard, assemna sky kanu. See, assemna with sky kanu. Because you were arguing for some balance between austerity and liquidity. And you said that when it came to the private sector in particular, because they create jobs, and particularly the infrastructure sector because of its multiplier effect, withholding cash from them in the name of austerity can become counterproductive. Right? A statement that was issued the last day of September, around 29 September, has been recirculated. And so a lot of people send that statement to me as if in corroboration of your point. So I'd like you to read a couple of paragraphs, Kakra, if you can. And then we would cross over and speak to the Minister for Roads, because I think it's part of the President's delegation to China.
Okay.
And he will tell us a few things about those issues raised about payments and what else he's trying to do for the sector. So, Kakra, if you can give me...
Okay, yes. So the statement is from the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry and, as you said, dated 29th September 2025, headed Request for Urgent Payment of Outstanding Interim Payment Certificates, IPCs, as promised by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And it reads, we write regarding the above subject matter. The Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry, GHCCI, wishes to commend government for the bold and transformative vision of the Big Push agenda, which has been publicly acknowledged as a key driver of Ghana's infrastructural transformation, as stated in the 2025 Budget Statement and Economic Policy. We particularly recognize the innovative prompt payment package attached to the agenda, intended to eliminate interest liabilities from delayed payments and improve liquidity within the construction value chain. However, we respectfully bring to your attention the urgent concern of our member contractors, consultants, suppliers, and related stakeholders who continue to face significant financial distress due to delayed settlement of interim payment certificates, IPCs. Despite His Excellency the President John Mahama's assurance that outstanding payments would be effected before the end of July 2025, to date these commitments remain unmet. The prolonged delay in effecting payments is inflicting severe financial hardship across the construction ecosystem. Contractors are unable to meet payroll and operational costs. Consultants and suppliers face mounting arrears, and the sector is increasingly burdened with legal threats and enforcement actions from statutory institutions such as SNIT and the GRA over unpaid deductions and taxes. These pressures not only undermine confidence in government payment credibility, but also risk halting critical infrastructure works nationwide. In light of these pressing circumstances, we respectfully request that government, 1, immediately release payments for all outstanding IPCs in fulfillment of President Mahama's promise and to protect the integrity of the Big Push agenda. 2, establish a transparent and time-bound payment schedule for future IPCs to assure contractors and financiers of predictability in cash flow and associated payment plan. 3, engage GHCCI and relevant stakeholders in monitoring the disbursement process to build accountability and restore confidence in the payment ecosystem. Honorable Minister, the Chamber strongly believes that prompt action in this regard will safeguard thousands of jobs, sustain ongoing infrastructure works, and uphold the trust between government and private sector actors driving the nation's development agenda. We trust that government will treat this matter with the urgency it deserves to safeguard the livelihoods of thousands of workers and sustain the momentum of Ghana's infrastructure development. Please accept the assurances of our highest consideration. And this is signed by Emmanuel A. Cherry. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry, addressed to Kwame Governs Abuja, the Minister for Roads and Highways.
Sky, do you think it's fair for this to be addressed to the Roads Minister, not the Finance Ministry? Because I think the discussion we had yesterday, of course, this statement predates that. The discussion was quite clear that there's a government spending issue, which is Finance Ministry function.
Yeah.
And when we looked at the capex, for example, 22 billion was budgeted, and at the time only 10 had been spent. And we are told that the 6.6 billion was domestic under the Big Push. All right, so of course, Emmanuel Cherry's minister is the roads minister because he's a road construction person. But is this well directed?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of if you look at the organogram and for that matter also how the institutional arrangements are made, the appropriate ministry to receive this is the minister or the ministry responsible for roads, because that's their ministry. He then will take it up and when necessary draw the attention of the Minister of Finance to the concerns being raised by the contractors, and where it requires cabinet input, so that cabinet memo, is raised for it to be discussed at cabinet level, and instructions given at that level to the Minister for Finance. That also would be done. So I don't find anything particularly untoward with the letter being written and sent.
So
to
they are sector minister. So quite interesting that this was 29 September. So that's like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just like 2 weeks ago.
But it started surfacing on my timeline yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was wondering why. I don't know whether it was because of the topic we discussed, and therefore the sort of it's brought it back.
Yeah, I mean, Bernard, you know that as I was saying yesterday, a lot of people.
All right, so the minister is on. So let's see if we can respond to this. So Honorable Govin Agboja is joining us from China, I believe he is. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard, and your panelists.
Thank you. I believe you've seen the letter written and signed by the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry addressed to you. And what is your response to that?
First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. And I must say that you have a team here also in Beijing participating in Global Leadership Conference currently going on. As I speak to you, the President is about to address the Presidential Investment Forum, which is bringing together over 600 investors, Chinese investors, some of who are already working in Ghana and others who are interested in coming to Ghana to invest and create jobs that we need for our young people. With regards to the letter, I am very much aware of the organization you're talking about. They are people I know for a long time. The last time I had an official communication with them would have been 29th September when they wrote basically asking about when they will be paid. So if you're talking about the letter dated in the September 29th, then yes, I know about that.
So what was your response to them then when you met them?
Well, when I met them, I made them aware of the situation in which we are. A situation where at the time of transition, government, the previous government told us the bill unpaid, the contracts executed and unpaid for, our GOG was 21 billion Ghana cedi. Today, I know that is far more than that. The road fund indebtedness, they told that was 5.1 billion. Today, I'm told it's over 8 billion and over 120 billion cedis worth of project awarded, some of which didn't even have commencement certificate, i.e., they didn't even have any idea how the contractors were going to work. And so, indeed, some of the contractors never even turned up on site since 2022 when the contracts were awarded. And then we assured them that government was going to work hard to make sure that we make payment to these projects duly executed. Since then, the finance minister has been to Parliament to present the 2025 budget statement, and it put in that statement a commitment to spend a certain amount of money to retire what we call arrears. In fact, it is part of that arrears that led to the payment of over 800 million Ghana cedi towards the Ofankor abandoned project. And today, God willing, we have seen the contractor back on site and working. That contractor was off-site at the time our colleague NPP was in power. We have fully paid every penny that we owe that contractor, and that contractor is actively working. And I want to commend the contractor and the consultants working on that. Hopefully, we'll complete that project in a few months' time for the use of the public. As of Friday as well, the finance minister has also started the payment of, in total, about 5 billion Ghana cedi to owed to contractors out of the over 21 billion. The process was that request for payment may not be exactly what it is. So the the Auditor General and others carried out some validation of the payment. And Bernard, when Parliament reopens, I'll be making a formal statement to tell you the outcome, because indeed, if we had rushed to pay, would have thrown away part of your money, because during the validation, it turns out that some of the certificates that, or the amounts that we were told we owe, is not exactly so. So the finance minister has carried out the validation, and out of the validated amount, as of Friday, about 5 billion has been paid to contractors whose certificates have been validated. That is GOG. We are also in the process of commencing the payment of contractors owed under the old road fund, now the road maintenance trust fund. So the payment to contractors has already started, and the process will continue. I must be frank, if we owe over 30 billion to contractors and the previous government did not pay, I believe that it will just be fair that nobody will expect that we'll be able to pay 30 billion within a year. If it was that simple, it would have been paid. But I'm very confident that working together.
So just to get some clarity, if we put the arrears for road sector, GOG plus road fund together, how much money are we talking about, and how much of it have you paid? Because you mentioned a 5 billion payment, and you also said it was a 21 billion. So I just want to know the total arrears for road sector in terms of completed works. How much is it, and how much have you paid?
Okay. So what it is that we are told that what was presented to us at transition was figures from as of 30th, September, end of September. And according to that document, GOG indebtedness as of that time was about 21 billion. And road fund was about another 5 billion. And that excludes Cocoa Roads, which is also a huge amount of money. Without a doubt, Bernard, we are close to about 40 billion, which was work done and unpaid across the road sector. And if you consider the fact that 5 billion as of Friday, that would have been the biggest, without a doubt, ever single payment to road contractors at a particular time in the life of any government in recent history. That is, I'm not saying cumulatively, at one bullet payment of 5 billion, that would have been the biggest. And we are doing this without borrowing from international sources and other things. I think President Mahama must be commended for and the finance minister must be commended for this commitment. That is why all those people who have been saying pay contractors, we are not doing this. Ask yourself, how were we able to pay 5 billion without the binging on borrowing from day to day? I think prudence and effective leadership is the only reason we are able to do this.
So you've paid 5 billion out of the 40?
Yes.
Is there a time-bound payment schedule for the rest of the money, for the outstanding?
Well, Bernard, we owe a lot of money. But what was in the budget we need to ask ourselves, what is in the budget for arrears? And this is just road. We haven't come to energy, we haven't come to education and other things. We can only pay as much as government can raise, and from sources you and I know. So we will pay as much as we can raise. But I believe that if a government that is 1 year old is able to pay about 5 billion Ghana cedi towards arrears inherited without borrowing and other things, I think that government must be commended for the patriotism and making sure that the Ghanaian investor in road sector money will be paid. As of when we'll be able to retire the 40 billion, it is just a matter of time that the budget will reveal how long it will take. Yeah. But the commitment of government to retire these arrears is no doubt.
Just two final points before you go. I know you came out of a meeting, so I'll make it quick. We looked at the BOG numbers for end of July, Government had budgeted 22 billion for capex. Only 10 billion had been expended, out of which 6.6 was domestic big push, 3.4 was foreign sources. So even with the amount of money the government was hoping to expend on capital expenditure, which includes roads, bridges, and everything else, the government was 63% below its expenditure target. So there appears to be an issue. If big push is our big infrastructure push, and our own budget wanted to spend 22 billion, of course, the 10 out of 22 is very low. What is going on? Is it that we didn't raise enough revenue? What's going on?
No, you have to look at it in two ways. That 5 billion that is paid is just debt we inherited from our colleagues. So that does not even include an inch of road that we have started by ourselves. Yes, you are right. The government flagship road project is the big push. As you are aware, and then I want to thank your network and other things to monitor and follow the president and every other person on the road sector. The big push project have just landed on site. So there's no contractor has released certificate yet. But I can guarantee you every big push contractor who releases a certificate, and we are expecting that towards the end of the year, early part of next year, the certificate will start coming. And we have money set aside for that, because that is how the budget has been structured. So you will see much more of the expenditure on the new project coming in towards the end of the year into next year. So we are not off target at all, because the procurement processes, the design, the costing, and the procurement of the road project will take time. That is why it's a delay. So we are not off target. We are actually on target. We have awarded over 70 billion cedis worth of new project. And at the same time, I just remind people, we have continued many abandoned road projects. One of them is the Ofanko. We are continuing with the Kasua project. We are continuing with the Adenta, Dodua, and we have added many. And we have urged every single contractor who was working during the previous regime to continue. We've never cancelled a single project. All of them are expected to continue working.
Finally, you are in China. We know the president is there primarily because of the conference on women, but I suspect you are there for a different reason. Are you raising any money for any specific road projects on this leg of the China trip?
Yes, as I said to you, the president is, as I speak to you, addressing the Ghana Presidential Investment Forum, which has attracted over 600 investors. And they are investors across all spectrum of our economy: mining, agriculture, AI, electronic vehicles, and everything. So the conference itself was about global leadership, focusing on women. But it's also focusing on women in business, women in construction, women in every aspect of our life. Yes, we are meeting. The president has already met a number of investors on roads and bridges and other things. Yes, some of them are already people working with us who want to increase their investment. So yes, it is a very positive outlook for the built environment in Ghana.
All right, I'm sure we'll talk when you come back. Thank you for speaking to us. Honorable Governor Kwame Abuja is Minister for Roads, speaking to us from China, and we apologize if the line was a bit dodgy. Sky, when we come back after taking social media trends, we'll unpack some of the points. But I think the highlights: 40 billion cedis in road sector arrears. Yeah. A chunk of 5 billion paid. He splits the payments, he splits the arrears into GOG and road fund and others. The 10 billion out of 22 is for new projects, so that's a different conversation. And they're also hinting that when they did the audit, it was good they didn't pay early, because they found out that the amounts may have been lower. And I think that corroborates the point the deputy finance minister also made last week. So we are doing our best to keep up to taps with the issues you are raising on payments.
Past the hour of 8. Sky, so the minister, we managed to reach him from the silence of the program, and he sort of addressed some of the issues there. I don't know where I think you were right when you said that they should have addressed the Minister for Roads, which they rightly did, and he's also explained what they are doing. Does that give a bit of respite? The arrears were 40, they've paid 5. He says that other payments will be made, and that when Parliament resumes, he will give a schedule of the payments. And then he spoke about new projects, 10 billion for big push of which most are roads. So essentially paying for finished work and also committing to new work to be done. I don't know whether that it addresses the urgency of the matter you raised yesterday.
I would say that it's good at least that we've heard the minister speak on the matter. That is encouraging. He's given indications that they are working around the clock to resolve the issues that I've raised and the ones raised by the contractors in that letter. But with the greatest respect, I don't think it is enough because, as you yourself just pointed out, and according to the minister, 40 billion in arrears, only 5 or maybe 4 has been
5 billion.
5 billion. I mean, that's negligible, isn't it?
1/8.
Yeah, that's, I mean, really. And you see, the letter that we have seen conveys the true feelings of majority of the contractors we have in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And no country should put its, entrepreneurs, investors, businesses, private citizens through that kind of toil. Listen to the tone of the letter. Of course, they did the right thing by, first of all, commending the government for what they say they are doing in order to restructure the economy and debt payment and all of that. But the core of the issue they raise is what's happening to their assets, what's happening to jobs, what's happening to, their credit worthiness, because banks are after them. And I am having to respond repeatedly to, demand notices being filed left, right, and center from banks which want their money because people have worked for years, and for some reason government is simply saying we can't pay. And in some cases, they are insisting that if you want payment done to you, you have to get a haircut. I mean, look, you have worked for years, banks are after you, your workers after you, SNIT, as they have rightly stated, is coming after them because in some cases they are unable to make their pay SNIT contributions. And the money that the government owes you, you want that money paid to you so that you can go and deal with some of these outstanding obligations. The government or people in government are negotiating that, look, we want you to accept a haircut in the sense that this money is too much. Let's recalibrate the amount so that we'll pay you some of what we are owed you, and that should settle the matter. I mean, in what economy should this be allowed to continue?
But I think you admit that some of the challenges are because of lack of trust between the two administrations. Because the point he makes is that when transition was happening, there was a certain expectation of the amount of arrears, but it turns out that following that, they realized that the amounts were bigger. So I feel like for going forward, we need to also tighten the transition process so people get a clearer picture of the issues. Because they had meetings, they compared notes, and then when they got in, they now said, look, the amounts are much bigger than we thought. He actually made that point here. It's something we need to look at. So it's delayed. So that lack of trust and candor within the two teams has delayed payments by almost 6 months. Because the transition team finished their work by the time they were handing over.
Should the question of mistrust between two administrations and the problems that should arise as a result of that, whatever it is, be visited upon people who have gone for private capital to invest to build this country?
That's why we have lawyers. That's why we have contracts. The mistrust between human beings is what has enabled many businesses. If I trusted people, I won't even hire you to be my lawyer. So I think it's part of the way things are, right? Normal legal advice, a lot of that is because of lack of trust. You get it? So if we can build in certain proper systems of accountability between the transition team.
Whose job is it to do that?
Parliament.
It's the job of the government.
No, Parliament.
The government meaning all the institutions of
Parliament has a very critical role to play because, guy, it's big. It's a big issue.
Bernard,
that you spend many months meeting or weeks to discuss transition. And then now the minister is telling us that when we were taking over, they told us that the arrears was X amount. And when we went in, the arrears was Y amount. You get it? Let me give you an example. Maybe we could commission an audit firm.
Which they have done, they said.
I'm coming. As part of the transition process, to say when a political party is about to change the government, within the same party or different parties, the Parliament should appoint an independent auditor to audit specific arrears as part of the transition and hand over
their findings to the new team, as against, do you understand what I'm saying? So that it's something that is mutually agreed, because it's cost us almost 9 months. I'm not saying that's the only reason. There's also, of course, the austerity and the fact that we don't have money. But I feel like if they knew the exact amount much earlier, look, we are in October. It was on Thursday that the Deputy Minister of Roads Finance telling me that Cabinet has now seen the final report of auditors for the 60 billion arrears, of which they reduced 13 billion out of it. This is October. Sky, imagine if we had built that into the transition process maybe sometime in January.
You see, I understand.
So these are the things we need to do to shield the system. So we've lost 10 months. Fine, they said they've saved 13 billion. I can't validate that, but that's what they are saying. Imagine if it was a system that Parliament can commission the big four. Okay, and we know that whether you are NDC or MPP, these guys will do an objective job. Because a lot of times when a party comes to power, things are tainted. Okay, they will say, these people are in government, so they are saying the arrears is too not big enough. You can't really tell. And it affects our country in a way that is beyond. So I'm not justifying the delay, but I'm saying that for a long-term solution to this type of problem, we need to get the Parliament of Ghana, and look at the way the Public Accounts Committee is doing. They are doing very well. Okay, they are doing a very good bipartisan job. At least watching them on the screen, you can tell that we do have some very good professionals in Parliament. Maybe we can move for them to do a few of that, so that it can speed up the process. Kakra, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it raises for me the question about the relevance of some certain institutions. Why we go through a transition only to find out that there's what
a bigger hole than we
a
thought.
bigger hole than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
It raises the question of transparency.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for us, we are stuck between two political parties who, when they're in power, when they're in office, behave in similar fashion. So what was the point of a transition? And now we have to think about getting Parliament to audit, the records, so that we can. So it's almost as if we've lost this year essentially. Then we shouldn't have done any transitional process.
We've lost almost a year.
Yeah, it feels like a whole waste of time.
Yeah. Anyway, so more money needs to be paid. 5 billion out of 40 is not enough.
Governmental
demand notices are being
should not be visited.
Someone
on
says you
privacy.
should be happy if you are responding as a lawyer to many
More
demand
money for you.
notices.
Charlie, look, bro, look, it's not easy like that. The people, they are not paying. Their money, some no day. Charlie,
there's no money.
Some no day.
You know, there's a sense in which in Ghana, if there's no money, when you speak to people, and these are the highest echelons, also Charlie, money no day. It's you can feel it. There's no, when liquidity is there, you will know. I think we are in a liquidity crunch. Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough for everybody. But let's tighten our belts and let's move on. Godfrey, why are you dressed so? No, what can I do? I've called the minister to speak to him. I mean, I've actually done a lot more than most people. You understand? I mean, I've gone out of my way to call the minister out of a conference to explain. I mean, what else can I do? Once the guy has answered the question, I can't be shouting. Let's wait for next week. Let Parliament reconvene. He said when Parliament reconvenes, they would address Parliament and give the schedule for payment. I think that's what the people are asking for. The paragraph 2 said the ministry should give them a schedule for payment. So if they go to Parliament, of course, it's a house of record. He can't do that on this program. If he goes to Parliament and addresses them and gives that schedule, we can police the schedule. Or we can debate the schedule. You can read the few
message.
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning, guys. My dad is a contractor. He's currently selling his house to pay for a bank loan. All his workers are struggling to make a living. He's the hardest and honorable working man I know. He doesn't joke with the quality of his work. He's delivered many projects for different governments. It's sad how governments don't promote and help private businesses.
We read a story today that a school had been locked up because 14 years after the contractor finished, he hadn't been paid. That's amazing. So 2010 or 2011.
14 years now.
Find that guy and interview him. To be interesting. 14 years after he.
But Bernard, I think a conversation also needs to be had about like these payments, and because if you've not been paid for 14 years, why? I guess, and somebody might say, "Oh, what is he asking?" Like, but is there no recourse for somebody like that? And why? What kind of contract did you sign that allows a government to owe you for 14 years? because basically they've collapsed you.
It's there in the contract filiga, don't you?
I can read the story.
But you see,
You know,
it's there in the contract filiga,
No,
don't you?
but that's what I'm saying. That perhaps then we also need to put in clauses.
Oh, don't tell it.
See,
When it comes to this the government,
but so you see,
they don't respect the
hold on,
hold on,
hold on for me.
Can I read the
Hold
story?
on.
Can I read the story? Give the
hold on,
context.
hold on for me.
Let me just read the story. Contractor
They'll
looks
frustrate you.
Odobin SHS classroom block over 14 years and paid debt. Akwesiado, Central Regional Correspondent. Academic activities at Odobin Senior High School in Esukuma, Odobin Brakwa have come to a standstill after a contractor locked up an 8-unit classroom block over unpaid debt. The contractor, Kofi Jansa, CEO of Rolga Construction Limited, said a school's PTA awarded him the contract in 2010, but has since failed to pay him for the work done. Despite the facility being about 90% complete, the school has reportedly been using it since 2012 without settling the outstanding payment. According to Mr. Jansa, quote, every effort to retrieve the money yielded no positive results. They keep giving me excuses one after the other. He explained that the introduction of the free SHS policy and the subsequent dissolution of the PTA may have contributed to the delay in payment. Quote, the contract was awarded to me by the PTA, but the government dissolved the association after introducing the free SHS, and I was expecting the government to absorb the debt, but it didn't happen. But that didn't happen. So last year, I tried to lock the facility, but government officials pleaded that I should wait until after the elections and they would pay me. Yet I have not been paid a dime as we speak. While he did not disclose the exact amount owed, Mr. Jansa described the sum as several millions of Ghana cedis. The contractor has now taken control of the building and cordoned it off, halting lessons for hundreds of students. He also warned that he would take legal action against the school authorities if they attempt to break into the building or continue using it. They have been using the building, which is 90% complete, since 2012. The issue, that itself is illegal. So I am not expecting them to go back into it until I'm paid. Otherwise, I'll use legal action against the school. The construction of the 8-unit classroom block has significantly boosted the school's admission capacity, increasing enrollment from about 200 to over 1,800 students, and enabling the introduction of additional academic programs.
So my question comes in then. You see that space between the contract being awarded by the PTA, policy changing, and him assuming that the government will absorb that.
Government begging, or the authorities begging. That they will pay.
Because here's the thing. The validation process that the government has to go through, perhaps with how the contract was awarded, because how government awards its contract is very different from how a private entity
or PTA
or a PTA will award its contract. The processes are completely different.
Can government take over PTA debt?
You see, there are. So you see the nuance here.
It's a complicated
So
matter.
you can
It's an
see.
isolated
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
It's
it's a good
matter.
case study.
It's a good case study, which is why I'm saying that some of these debts, because for instance, if we've seen, this is not a new case, we've seen a lot of the contractors lock up the
government sponsored.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
yes,
Lock up
yes.
government schools. Now you can't sell the school to offset the cost because it's government
You
land.
can't sell school.
Who are you selling the school to?
Oh, well, I mean, if you go through the proper processes in the
No, there's no
contract,
court. There's no court in Ghana that is going to allow you to sell
A judge may
government
look
school
at the
to offset your debt.
A judge will look at the
If
school
a
and
judge
say,
is
"Guy,
looking at
I can't lock a school."
promotion, I mean, that will not mind them.
Oh,
This
no,
game
no.
And that's the point I'm making.
It will be a difficult decision.
The system looks to be designed to
Oh God.
frustrate
Yes.
the people who are supposed to be paid. And also, I also think perhaps for the people on that side, not all of them, some of them, most of them play the political game.
No, don't use most. Say some.
And that's why I said, okay, some of them play the political game. So the manner of getting the contracts.
Because maybe he knows people somewhere.
But should that matter? Has the person done the work?
No. You see,
No, he's talking about the process. See, Sky, don't forget the Ministry of Finance is saying from now, every debt, every contract you sign, which has implication on the Ghana budget, they have to validate it. Now, look at this case study. A PTA has gone to incur a debt on behalf of a school. The school
Which is a government
under
school.
GES. So they could well say GES, government should pay. Right? And then they may add it to a bunch of things that the Ministry of Education now asks the finance ministry to pay. So if you're a finance minister, I say, how on earth am I paying for a school where the processes under which the contract was signed by the PTA and this guy were not even clear? You get it? So this it's a build-up of things. So we shouldn't use it. I think that it is a very good case study of how a lot of government debt is incurred And which why some people say that they even overprice it.
I lost
Because
it.
if
The
the process for
story
awarding the
told you
contract
in that-
is not even right,
In
how do you
one
know that the
sentence,
amount is right?
You were told in
Yes.
clear terms
Yeah.
the impact of that project on enrollment into the school.
Very good.
Right?
Yes.
Any responsible government that cares about education, that cares about producing the right human capital for the people of Ghana, will go and investigate, look into it.
but-
What is the issue, right? Look, Bernard,
But
I
the
understand.
issue is the SHS. But if explain the issue.
No, hold on.
And so don't forget, let's assume I spent 1 million cedis on this 8-unit classroom block in 2011. Then the people were supposed to pay me in 3 years. They haven't paid. Then the government then.
Meanwhile,
because
the man is accruing
and don't
interest.
forget 2011. So there was NDC government down to 2016. The story is even incomplete because 2016 was when MPP came. So to even blame free
2017.
SHS and PTA dissolution is not even the full story. Because if a school project has finished in 2011, what happened between 2012 to 2016?
Bernard,
Now you are saying that in 2017, 2018, when PTA was abolished, that's why they couldn't pay.
For-
And therefore, the new government, the then government said when they finish the election, there's a cock and bull story even
No, Bernard, you
How?
can't dismiss
So what
it
happened
just
between
like that.
2012 and 2016?
It could well be the facts because I know people who have not been paid for 20 years in some cases. 20 years, people who supplied vehicles to the state of Ghana, the Republic of Ghana,
Yes.
back and forth. In some cases, 30 years they have not been paid.
Yes.
And you know what government does? Look. Let's face it.
I agree with
We
you.
have people who just believe that to hell with it. We will not pay you.
Sky.
If you like,
Sky,
go to
can I
court.
make a
Let's be
point?
balanced.
And they frustrate you
Sky, let's be
and
balanced.
kill your business.
Sky, let's be balanced. There are two things. Your point is true, but I'm also saying that sometimes the circumstances under which these contracts are awarded need to be properly.
Which is the point
laid
I am
out.
trying to
so
make.
as a solution, we must recalibrate these contracts awarding so that it doesn't just happen arbitrarily.
In the meantime, have rights accrued to people? Have people worked and that they deserve to be
But,
paid?
you see, but the point
what
I'm making
amount
is, you
are we
see-
going to pay the
You
person?
see, here's the thing, Sky. A lot of the, well, I'm saying a lot again. You are in the business, so let me use the words you're asking me to use. Some of the,
Yes, yeah, I think that's right. Some of
so
the
that he leaves me alone. Some of the persons who front these contracts or who
Yeah.
run these companies or who are these contractors,
Yeah.
the circumstances under which the contract is even won means that you have a certain difficulty in following due process when it comes to collecting your money, when it comes to the form of the type of contract that you are signing. Because here's the thing, you don't want one contract, you want 2 contracts, you want 3 contracts. You want to be on the good side of the government. The government likes the kind of contractor who can go and mobilize and do the work and doesn't come and give the government wahala over a period of time. They are the ones who get 4 contracts, 5 contracts, 6 contracts, because then they say you are the strong one. And we've seen a couple of those who are capable and they grow. We've seen them. They are working in the system, right? Not everybody has that wit. Okay, so those who don't have that wit, sometimes after getting the contracts, due to the terms of it,
With terms. They are written in black and white.
Sky, if you are the minister, Sky.
so
Sky, if you are
what is the difficulty then in making claims?
No, it is not a difficult. You see, people just sit at the ministry in many cases and decide they won't pay.
No.
if you don't grease their palms.
That is
They
also
They
there.
want to show you where the
No,
but Sky, this
yes,
is
that
20,
is also there.
Sky, this is
And you see-
2011. I'm coming on. 2011 to 2025 is 14 years. So you are saying that the various of paying officers within the ministries have all been this recalcitrant?
No. You see, I'm not citing this as a
But you said
matter
they're
of
in
fact.
20 year-
Yeah, that's right. I'm talking from like proper knowledge, like
Over
yeah,
how
from
long? But if it's 20-year period of non-debt payment, could it be a reason you are giving?
Bernard. There is I won't pay you because I believe you belong to the other side.
There's that.
There is I
That's
won't
true.
pay you because look, you have refused to accept certain draconian terms now being imposed. There is I won't pay you because Charlie. Yes, like
You are
this
too
guy,
known.
you are too known. Or there is I won't pay you because you cost a lawyer to write to me. If you like, go to court. The court belongs to us. No. There is
Impunity.
yes. There is I won't pay you because look, I
But
want to
couldn't
kill
there
your
also
business.
be I won't pay you because I want to be sure that I'm paying the right amount and that we have to properly validate the amount.
There's also that.
You see, you
Send that
know,
on to be part.
there's something known as articulating a minor motive against an inarticulate major motive, right? What the governments coming into office often do is to use these things. Oh, we are investigating. The MPP did it. These so-called cocoa roads, blah blah blah. They stopped all of them.
They said they were doing audit.
They said they were doing audits so that they could shelve all the so-called or alleged NDC people and their contractors away.
So now you
So that they hold on. So that they will now use the opportunity to give new contracts to people they believe are from their side, so that they can pay those people, so that those people will support the party's cause.
So your business gets spoiled when your party leaves power.
Exactly. I mean, why should
that is the problem I'm talking about.
in many ways?
That's a very good point. But my point is that we have to be delineated, because we've just discussed with the road minister debts. He has admitted that there's 40 billion that is owed, and he's going to give a roadmap to pay. Okay. Now, I'm not sure we are going to say that a lot of the delays are also because they want to be sure that this contractor is from the right political party or not.
Bernard, did you hear of what happened after the NDC left power? Similar approach.
2016.
Yes, the roads ministry came in. We believe that some of these things have been inflated. We believe that many of them did not follow due process. We have caused an audit to be done. In the meantime, we are not making any payment. In the meantime, new contracts were being issued. The point I'm making is that, you see, Godfred raises very fundamental points, and I don't depart from those points. But you see, my basic position is that, look, there's sanctity of contract. And once contracts have been signed and performed, you, as a party to the contract, you have an obligation to fulfill the terms of the contract.
But you also,
what people are doing,
officer, have an obligation to apply due care.
Bernard, I'm saying
And
people are hiding behind due care.
There are two things. You've said your side, which is true.
Okay.
Sanctity of contract. But I'm saying that if people are in court, people are going to court because of financial loss. So if you're a paying officer and somebody comes and says pay 1 million, you should be able to cover your bases to be sure that the project was valued for money.
Do you hear from them? Do you hear from them? All these governments which have done these things, the same approach being adopted when they are giving new contracts and making payments that they have commissioned. What do you call it?
But I just explained to you the issue of political trust, because we also do know that politicians give contracts to people they like and they pad it. Okay, so if we are sitting here today and the government is telling us that they saved 13 billion cedis from auditing, and they claim they used one of the big four firms to do an audit, and they are actually going to present it to Parliament. According to the Deputy Finance Minister, they presented it to Cabinet and it will be given to Parliament. So don't forget the cocoa rules. People are asking also for the audit report. So I am saying that we should also say that because people politically do things because of political expediency, we should also overlook the need for these kinds of audits.
Then let's disband the various institutions. You see, the government contracts are not just awarded like that and people go to sleep. There is a department in the roads department, for instance. There's an institute, what do you call it? An internal institution whose job it is to go out there, take notes, right? Validate every claim. If you raise a certificate, a contractor raises a certificate, his job is to go there and say, okay, you say that you have done 20% of the job. Okay, you go and do the audit, right? Take photographs, all these things, write a report, raise that report, that will go to the appropriate officer. That, okay, this is the claim made, this is our assessment. There is a tallies, and therefore raise the requisite memo, let it go forward so that eventually the minister will minute on it. It will go to the appropriate department for validation, and payment will be made, releases will be made, and
so all. You're saying that is built into the process?
Look, at every step of the way.
This is why we say politics destroys institutions. Because what we've done in
Ghana. So we should use our money
to
contract some new auditor to do some job that ought to have been done.
You that, you see, so what we've done is that the political motive even means that the guy doing the validation you're saying may not have even done it well, or the new government doesn't believe he did it properly. Because if a minister is so determined to do the wrong thing, or if an administrator is so determined to do the wrong thing, they can have all those perfunctory checks, but they can still overprice contracts. You get it? So I keep saying that we need to go back to Parliament because Parliament is bipartisan. They are the ones who can bridge the gap, because the two administrations, the lack of trust is costing all of us money. But we also know that people too pad contracts and they steal the state's resources, and we also have to catch them. So we have to have a balanced approach to this matter. But we in pushing the pay them, we also should not forget that you don't want to pay people who haven't done any work.
But Bernard, if you pay people and you know very well that the fact eventually established that someone okayed the payment, that ought not to have been made, or someone charged you for a certain amount, and ideally that ought not have been part of the charges imposed on you as a government, you have the liberty to prosecute the person.
Go long route. And the money you already have. See, look at you don't even have the money. You are doing austerity. Now you are going to pay somebody, and then when you finish, go and chase him for overpayment.
But jobs are dying.
Oh my brother.
Contractors are suffering hypertension. People are visiting, you know. It's a very serious matter I'm raising.
The contractors are suffering because, and look, I'm not even going there. Everybody's suffering.
No, but if you are suffering, you identify with me.
I'm suffering.
No, I don't think you are suffering.
No, I'm saying that, you see, I agree with your point that not paying contractors affects everybody else, but we've done a lot of work in the past 2 days to tell you what's going on.
You were told that 40 billion, right?
Yes.
Only 4 billion or 5 billion has been paid. Bernard, I mean, that is completely unacceptable.
Over what period? The man says that when he goes to Parliament next week, he's going to give a schedule for the rest of the payment.
That's all just good.
Yeah, but he's going to Parliament. Is it? Are you talking?
Bernard, you see, look, maybe I know enough to know that.
No, I think you know too much, so it's affecting you.
Let me read some messages for you. There's a proverb that says, "We will know the height of the frog when it dies. After the government exits, we will still see unpaid contracts." See, when you've genuinely tendered for a contract, won and are giving the contract, and you work but don't get payments on time, then you come on radio to defend with English, shaking my head. Oh, Charlie, someone's very upset. Mr. Akoto, yes? Why are you surprised with the 14 years? There are several thousands of such in the system, and these are contracts that have undergone competitive tendering processes, sets validated and approved. The state itself is not a business enabler. The state itself is not a business enabler because, you see, the manner of most of these things, and Sky, since you are the expert on this, is clientelism and transactionalism.
Yeah.
And that is what nobody wants to talk about. The contractors will lie about it, and you who represents them won't also open up about it. But it is hold on. You can hold whatever it is.
I think very strong.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
No, you can say that in some realm. But you are talking about me sitting here.
No. I say you know. I didn't say that you are participating.
So make that
you are the expert.
Make it clear.
I'm making
it clear. Yes.
My point is
I'm here. It is my interest that is affected. I have a right to protest.
As the resident expert on this matter.
I think you are too aggressive on this issue.
As the resident expert on this matter, I am saying that you understand that a chunk of these agreements are born out of clientelism and transactionalism.
Yes.
So it becomes very difficult at a point to even engage on the basis of merit.
Thank you.
And most of these things we all know. Some of them look, let's not pretend we don't know which major contracting companies in this country are affiliated with political parties.
In fact, yesterday,
let's not pretend we don't know. We can do it on this show.
One of my guests said something. One of my guests on TV said something. He said
let's not pretend about
did
this.
a study of the telecom laws, and he says he'll be surprised if a lot of the telco companies don't have a sort of an untold relationship with government because the excessive power of the government in the supervision, in the NC and all those things, it's going to be difficult for you to be a large player and not cozy out politician. And I think we can say the same for the contractors as well. If I hear somebody from the road sector says, "Bernard, good morning.
Morning.
Government is always flexing. The contractors sign the contract with the government and not the political party. The contractors are bullied and are afraid of not getting further jobs if they try to litigate. How long can it take a government to audit projects? It's an excuse the political parties always use." So this seems to agree with your point.